Welcome to The Legal Fix, a new age radio show brought to you by the Tough Law Firm. We're the toughest law firm in town, with the toughest lawyers around answering your toughest legal questions.
Hey, welcome to The Legal Fix, a new age radio show brought to you by the Tough Law Firm, where we answer your toughest legal questions. Call our hotline at 936-900-2381. I'm your host, Big Deal Bruce Tuff, along with super lawyer G.I. Jerome, Jeremy Hall. Hey, I didn't ask you, where's Boy Wonder today? You know,
he's at the petting zoo.
B-Dub's at the petting zoo with the kiddos, huh?
And the nickel in for the little pellets and then give them to the
llama.
llama.
Yeah. Okay, I hope he comes back with his fingers. Huh? Yeah. I love petting zoos, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah. What's your favorite petting zoo animal?
Probably a sheep.
The sheep?
Yeah,
because
nice
they're so soft.
Yeah.
You can stick your finger in and just kind of grab them like this.
You can ride them when you're a kid.
Oh, I know. Then they'll buck you off.
Mutton busting.
The mutton busting. Yeah, without a helmet. Yeah. Okay. So we're having a special segment show this time, and we had J.J. Holly on the show, President and CEO of the Woodlands Chamber of Commerce, talking a little bit about incorporation. And with us today is a very dear friend of mine, Steve Leakey. He's president of Woodlands. Wait a minute, Woodlands. You are the president of the Woodlands, aren't you? No, you're the Secretary of State for the Woodlands Township. When I was chairman of the Woodlands Township, Steve was the Secretary of State, and he would go on emissary missions on official business with Natural on the township, to village associations, CEO events, meeting with dignitaries that would be visiting the Woodlands.
He's cut out for that.
Yeah, but his most recent role now is president of the Voter Awareness Council, and he's going to talk a little bit about this upcoming incorporation election and how important it is for you to vote, a little bit about what's going on in the community right now, what he's doing in his life. But first, Steve, show.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
It's so good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know this about you, that you're an aerospace engineer. Is that right?
By education, yes.
Yes, and you also have a master's in something in engineering.
Aeronautical engineering.
Well, you're a space nerd.
Well, well, sort of, yeah.
Did you know that William Shatner just flew up into outer space, 62 miles
I
up?
saw it, 90 years old.
Yeah.
Oldest person ever to do that.
Isn't that cool?
Yep.
He's working on his tan.
My gosh, yeah. So a founding member and president of Voter Awareness Council. A little bit about that.
Well, it's an organization that we founded in 2014, and both of you gentlemen remember that, of course, because you were founding members.
Yes, sir.
And
yes,
we organized our group because turnout in most of our elections is very low, and we saw a number of elections being swayed by a small special interest group, and felt that was in the best interest of our community, and so we formed our nonprofit 501c3 corporation to see what we can do to encourage and equip eligible voters in Montgomery County to get out and vote.
And you must have had a crystal ball, because that's exactly what we're facing with this incorporation.
Oh my
election.
gosh, it's a
small
group, low voter turnout. We've got minority groups that have captured the electorate in the Woodlands just because the Woodlands doesn't vote. People, and I don't know why. Why don't people in the Woodlands
Well,
vote?
there are a number of different reasons. One of the predominant ones that we hear is that things are so good here, that the community is so successful that people are distracted by other things, their job and their family and all those kinds of things, so they're just not involved.
Voter apathy.
Voter apathy.
Yeah.
Or they think a candidate will win, so they don't need my vote, so I don't need to bother to go to the polls.
Bruce Tuff.
He always
wins.
I'll take credit for that. Yes.
Bruce Tuff can confirm and certify that situation. They don't feel the need to hold their elected officials accountable, and that's something that, clearly on all election levels is something that we believe in is very, very important.
What do you say to people who say my vote doesn't matter?
We have elections that are won or lost by one vote. How does that count? So, of course, every vote counts, but we have a lot of very close races in Montgomery County, particularly when turnout is low. And so 1 or 2 votes literally has made a difference in many elections over the years.
How many people will be voting in this election? What's your prediction?
My hope is around 20%, maybe as high as 30%.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. The
That'd
lowest one we've had during these off years was 7%,
Which is 5,000, 6,000
Right.
number
Right.
of votes,
right?
voters.
Average is more like 10 to 20.
20. Mm-hmm.
20 is kind of high over, say, the last 10 years during odd election years.
Right. Right.
I would hope this year will be higher than that 20% because incorporation issue is on the ballot, and one would think that that would attract a lot of voters.
Now, what do you think about having such an important election, the future of the Woodlands, being a city or not being a city, and a corporation election in a odd year where the voter turnout has traditionally been so low? What's your opinion about that?
Very, very disappointed. I spoke both publicly and privately with the board, expressing the view that, and the statistics and the facts, that turnout is low during these odd years. And actually, we had a commitment from the board several times publicly that it would be done during an even year. When questioned why the rush, why this year, they said, well, things have changed. Well, the logical extension to that is, since things are always changing, does that mean what commitments we make are subject to change when change happens? So I'm very disappointed that it happened. There is a fair amount of press and publicity and discussion on y'all's format and other places. So we'll hope that the turnout will be on the high side this time, which, as you may recall, in 2007, when the elections were held to form the township, it was right around 28%.
Yeah, that was a huge turnout. Huge turnout, right?
But still, given all of the community involvement in that whole exercise, even that number's on the low side. It should have been higher.
Yeah.
What's the downside of waiting until more people can decide?
I don't really know that there is one. From my perspective, nothing is broken in the Woodlands. Quite the contrary, things are performing very well, and crime rate is low and is falling, and we have beautiful parks, and we have all the amenities that we need. So there's nothing that needs to be fixed. So from my perspective, Jeremy, we have no urgency in doing this. So we have the time to do it right when there is a real trigger to do it.
Yeah. So for me, this couldn't be. This is the most significant election that we faced in the Woodlands for the future of the Woodlands, with the exception of founding the Woodlands Township.
Couldn't agree more.
We consolidated all of the community associations, which there were 3 of them, into the Woodlands Township. And in my opinion, we've created the perfect city. And so now we're about ready to change that in a low vote turnout election, which has got everybody concerned. So what's your word to everybody about the election?
Learn what's going on, learn the facts and figures, talk to people you know and trust, find out the facts in this, and then vote. And that, to me, is a responsibility that we all have, because our community literally is at stake in all of this, our quality of life, our cost of living, and so forth. Find out the facts as best you can get it, make up your mind, and vote.
Where can people go to get more information on the election?
I think Impact News has just done a good job of summarizing a lot of the differences. There have been a number of different public discussions. There have been a number of forums, some of which have been recorded, that are out there. I think probably the major source to me, Jeremy, is to talk to and listen to people that you know and trust, who really understand what's going on here, because it's a complicated issue.
It is.
There's no question about that. So talk to people whom you have confidence in, pick their brains, and see what you can find out. But don't just go vote until you've done that. We want everyone to be equipped to vote, but don't vote on the stuff that you're handed to when you show up to vote. Vote based on what you have learned. We also encourage people to download their sample ballot, which is easy to do. Go to the Montgomery County election website, download your sample ballot, fill it out before you walk in to vote, and take it with you.
MontgomeryVotes.org. That's
Correct.
good.
Correct.
Bruce, where do you go for incorporation information? Where are your top sources?
I'll tell you, a lot of it's been on social media, but I like what Steve said. Community Impact News has probably got the most objective, and they covered the recent town hall forum, which I personally thought was a clown show. It didn't allow any of the residents to even participate or ask questions or to participate in a town forum. It was like we've got this three-ring circus set up, and you can go over and ask our consultant your burning questions about Public Works Department, and they said, you know what, I don't really know that question. You can go look at the magazine, or I'll refer you to some materials. It was really a deflection about everything. It didn't answer the question about what problem we're solving, what is the crisis that is compelling this incorporation election. But Community Impact is a great news source. I read the article today that they had. I've also been online looking at a lot of things that the Preserve the Woodlands PAC has put out, which I think is excellent, and that's got great material. It has analyzed the financial model. It has posted the top 10 reasons to not incorporate, which I think are great reasons. Township Future had a great publication that came out saying, answering your questions about these issues that are non-issues like Woodlands Parkway Extension. That's like, let's replay that again. Let's see if we can scare everybody again. Let's pretend like we're replaying that. We're going to have drainage. Well, drainage, you're not even incorporating the muds. You're not taking over the muds. You're not taking over water. So why would you say we even do the incorporation? So that's another one that's been thrown out of there. And then the federal funding issue, which is, I don't think the Woodlands has ever wanted to stand in line for federal funding, and all the strings and attachments has come to it. But what problem do we have? I mean, this thing is going to cost us so much more in increased tax rates and financial costs. Just the fact of doing a public safety and having a whole new police force and doing away with the great, exceptional community policing model we have now. And public works, you take over all the roads and bridges, that's going to cost something. It's going to be increased cost. So
you mentioned the extension. So we're going to keep Woodlands Parkway from turning into 1960 by becoming a city like Houston.
That'll never, it's such a scare tactic that it's being replayed by the Patriot PAC and Julie Turner and Gordy Bunch and the Township Board and Shelley Sekula Gibbs. It has nothing and no relationship. The roads are already planned to a designated size for the Woodlands community. It's not going to exceed that. It's going to be what it's been planned for 40 years, 40 plus years, 45 years. And any roads outside the community, any of those outside the community, those are not controlled by the city anyways. You can't control what's going on I-45 or what's going on 1488. That's not in your city boundaries.
And that's another classic example of the voter turnout issue. In that road bond, the turnout was only about 14%. Way over the majority of Woodlands residents didn't even bother to vote in that election.
Yeah.
So when the report is made that there was overwhelming voter opposition to Woodlands Parkway Extension, that was reflected only in a small percentage of the population of the Woodlands.
All right. Well, guess what? Carlos just told me we have a caller for Steve Leakey. Is that right? All right. Let's hear the caller. Welcome, caller.
Hello, welcome to the Legal Fix.
This is Timothy Maddox.
Hey, Timothy, how are you?
Can somebody please let me know what the rush is on this issue? It seems like a lot of our city members, the population of our city, me included, we're not very educated on this subject. So why are we having a vote, or what is the pressing issue? Why do we need to make this determination so quick before we have time to figure out what exactly our stance is?
Well, super question, and let me say this. We're all asking exactly those same questions. The compelling reason to do it has not been communicated to us. There are a number of outstanding issues and questions. So what the rush is and why we are rushing it so much and putting it on a ballot in an off-year election is the $64,000 question, because there are no legitimate answers to that from my perspective.
Who does it benefit?
I think it benefits the township board who wants to shove incorporation down our throat and all about power.
And those
It's
are all the
about
people
power.
that are for it.
That's it. That's the only one that I know of those township boards.
Well,
I don't see anybody else coming out saying, hey, I've lived in the community for such a long time, and I really want to be a city, and I want to pay more taxes. And I
need
want
this.
really big government. So if I ever do anything with my property, I have to wait months and months and go through all kinds of steps and pay a ton of money to, alter or change any part of my property, and then pay more for trash pickup.
I don't want to move to Houston. I want to turn this into Houston.
Yeah, that's
No-
what it is. Yeah,
no
I
one's
just
saying
came
that.
from Sugar Land. I really like being in the city of Sugar Land because, and I want the Woodlands to be a city. Yeah, just like Sugar Land. That's what I want. Just like Conroe.
We'll
Just
have
like,
less traffic.
Yeah, that's right. All right, we're going to come right back. We're going to take a break. We're going to put Steve Leakey on the hot seat. Are you going to be ready for the hot seat,
We'll
Steve
see.
Leakey? All right. We'll be right back. Well. Bruce Tuff, principal of the Tuff Law Firm. We are a full-service law firm serving the greater Woodlands area and the greater Houston area. Contact us at 281-681-0808. We're tough for you. Hey, welcome back to the Legal Fix, a New Age radio show. I am Bruce. I'm here with G.I. Jerome, Jeremy Hall. Our special guest is Steve Leakey in the house. And we went right into incorporation. We went into voting, went into the election that's coming. We didn't have a chance to talk, Steve. And, Steve, you were born in Australia, right, mate? Right, mate?
No, I was actually born in the Chicago area, but I finished high school in Australia.
Australia. I
Down
saw
under.
that. I
Yeah.
saw that in the
Yeah.
I saw that in your resume,
Yeah,
mate.
yes, that's right.
Yeah. What's your best Australian accent?
I really don't have one. The Aussie accent is one that's pretty unique, and I don't really try to imitate it, but it's charming.
You're an aerospace engineer.
Right,
You graduated from high school in Australia.
right.
You were employed in aerospace corporation industry and electronic data systems. EDS. Does everybody know what EDS is?
Well,
Tell us about EDS.
I was with EDS for about 28 years. That's the company that Ross Perot founded in 1964 that basically invented the concept of IT services and outsourcing.
Right.
And I joined that company in 1971 and saw it grow from about $80 million a year in revenue to over $23 billion. So it was a very, very, very interesting tenure.
Holy cow. And what did you do at EDS? What was your position there?
Probably my major role there was in sales and sales management. The last assignment that we had was in Asia. We were based in Hong Kong and Tokyo, and I was the regional vice president for business development, and our job was from Korea to New Zealand over to India to help develop EDS business in that part of the world.
Damn, you headed up the whole kind of Asian division.
I was more number two. We had a Chinese American, a guy by the name of Ed Yang, who was the overall head of our group. But I was kind of his number two, yes.
I remember you telling me about Ed Yang. Ed Yang, a very impressive guy. Tell us a little bit about
Absolutely.
him.
Ed is a fabulous individual that his family fled communist China when Mao Zedong came in. His family fled Burma when the communists came into Burma.
Right.
Grew up and finished school in Taiwan. And he and his family have lived in the United States. He's a U.S. citizen for any number of years. He now lives in Los Angeles, and he's one of those pearls of life that makes all of our lives worth living, and that's the sort of fellow that Mr. Yang is.
We should have Ed Yang speak at the Economic Outlook Conference.
That would be great.
Topical
That would
about
be great.
China now
That would be great.
Global influence in Taiwan and all the issues
Right.
that are there and all his experience
Right.
in international business, particularly in Asia, and that. So, Steve, you retired from EDS. You have been active in a lot of political things in the Woodlands. You
Right.
worked on some of my campaigns.
Right.
When I was talking to Jeremy about having Steve Leakey on the Legal Fix, he said, well, Steve's a political consultant, right? So Jeremy thought of you as a political consultant, did not know about your professional background. Then when he was reading the resume, he said, wow.
Blew me away. I got to the bottom of the second page of his Bible before I found out something I already knew.
I know. So isn't that amazing? He's and a lot of people don't know this about Steve. They don't know the rich background he has, and also knew Ross Perot. You knew Ross Perot.
Knew Ross very well.
Yeah.
For on the order of 10 years, I worked worked around him and with him on a couple of projects, and a fascinating individual, to say the least.
Were you one of the guys that went into Iran to rescue the EDS employees on the Black Ops mission
Actually,
that
no.
Perot financed himself?
Actually, no. But I knew all of those guys who were. I was never in the military service, for better or for worse. I was never in the military service. All the EDS employees who were on that mission were former Marine Corps, Army, Special Forces type guys, which I am not. So I was not a part of that team. But I was at Love Field in Dallas when the flight coming from Iran had all those guys on the plane. And that was a pretty interesting session.
That was national news. A private company sent or rescued his own employees from a hostile country and got them back safely. Who does that?
We had two employees
who
who were in jail when the Shah was overthrown.
Yep.
And Perot hired a guy to lead a group of like 10 people, literally go get them out of jail.
Unbelievable.
And they succeeded.
We're trying to do it now with Afghanistan.
That's right. Yeah. Well, we need another Ross Perot and another Steve Leakey to help with it. Now, also, Perot ran in 2 presidential elections. And did you work on any of those campaigns?
I did not.
Yeah.
I did not.
He almost won. I mean, he as a minority candidate, third-party candidate, he actually won the election where Bill Clinton won by plurality on that election. A lot of people don't remember the history of all that.
That's right. And President Bush 41
HW
actually used to be good friends with Ross Perot.
Right.
Used to casually and informally stop by the house on Straight Lane, Dallas, just to drop in and say hello. After that election, he did not do that anymore.
Not so much.
Because that cost President Bush his second term.
Kicked him out of the White House.
It did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was good. You're also working with your daughter on the Autism Academy,
right?
And know that you're very proud of that, and
right.
That's been very successful. So it's like what don't you do, or what can't you do?
Well, I already think it does do too much. So
yeah, I know.
But the Texas Autism Academy is something that we started 5 years ago. That we're very proud of the progress that they're making there. It's a private school. It's tuition based. For children diagnosed with autism. They're into their 5th year of successful operation, and I couldn't be more proud.
Outstanding. All right, Steve, we could be talking with you all day long, but we got to put you on the hot seat. Now you've seen JJ.
Well, you don't really have to.
We
That's
have to.
optional.
We
Oh,
have
okay,
to. We
okay.
have to. You brought your
We're
sunglasses, so he
Brought my
did
sunglasses.
say he can do the hot seat. He's brought his sunglasses. So Jeremy, swear him in.
State your full name for the record.
Stephen Paul Leakey.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and your version of the truth, to answer as many questions as you can in as few words in the least amount of time?
I will do my best. Yes, thank you so much.
He's ready.
All right. How do you spell Leakey?
Leakey.
Is it Leakey or Lakey?
Leakey.
So you're not Leakey.
Correct.
Are you related to Ricky Lake?
No.
Wake and Bakey, Lando Lakey?
No.
Shimmy Lake, Jimmy Lakey?
No.
Were you involved in the mistake by the lake?
No.
Cleveland Stadium?
No.
Are you from Cleveland?
No.
Do you bleed OU maroon?
Yes.
Boomer Sooner or Storm and Norman?
Boomer Sooner.
What does Boomer Sooner stand for?
Boomer Sooner.
What's your mascot?
Their mascot is like a great big sort of...
Is it an ox?
No.
Oxen, right? What's your rally cry?
Boomer Sooner.
Not only are you a hometown hero, isn't it true you adopted 2 children?
Yes.
What are the names and how old are they?
Carrie and Drew, they're both right around 50.
Who's your favorite?
I have no favorites.
Isn't it true you were VP of marketing for EDS Japan?
Yes.
What was the strangest thing about living in Japan?
The fact that any business practice outside of Japan does not typically work in Japan.
Give us a word in Japanese.
Tokyo Echo.
Oh, it's a good one. I got off my track. Isn't it true you went to high school in Melbourne, Australia?
Oh, yeah.
Australia?
Yes.
Hey, mate, give us your best Aussie impression.
Good day, mate.
Good day, mate.
Australian rules football.
Let's put another shrimp on the barbie.
Land down
Right.
under. Dingoes
Australian
about.
rules football in the land down under. Dingoes about.
Dingoes about. True or false? Have you ever permed your hair?
Have I ever what?
Permed your hair. Have you ever
No.
received a permanent?
No.
What kind of product do you use?
None.
Have you ever rocked a bristle brush, a pencil stash?
No.
How tall are you?
6'4".
Did you used to be taller?
Don't think so.
Do you wear short shorts to the gym?
No.
Do you even lift, bro?
Do I what?
Do you even lift, bro?
I do.
How much do you bench?
I don't bench.
Isn't it true that you wear glasses just for style?
No.
What's your eyesight?
2100.
Do you have any other handicaps?
No.
This Halloween, will you go as Ross Perot?
Make that Ross Perot. No.
Perot or Peru?
Perot.
Parrot.
Perot.
Do you have a will?
Yes.
Prenup?
No.
How much money will it take for you to retire?
I'm already retired, so it's too late to figure that out.
He knows his number. What's the most humble job you've ever had?
Mowing lawns.
How often do you check social media?
0.
What apps do you use? 0.
None.
Zero.
Are you posting, trolling, comments, or just browsing?
Just browsing.
I stay off.
Have you cried in the last year,
Love you.
Yes.
month,
Yes.
week,
Yes.
day?
Almost.
Sum up your life philosophy in a word or phrase.
Balance.
One thing people don't know about you that you want them to know.
I read a lot of history books on the early presidents.
Isn't it true you run the VAC?
Yes.
And obviously VAC, short for vacuum cleaner.
No, Voter Awareness Council.
When you run the VAC, it is allowed. Spell vacuuming.
VACUUMING.
Perfect. I could never spell that.
Me either. How many political campaigns have you worked on?
I would have to say 10 or 15.
What's the best kept secret in the Woodlands Township?
Why we should incorporate.
Which candidate you worked with spent the most time in the mirror?
Probably Bruce Tuff.
Yes, sir.
Yay! How about the least?
The least would have been probably Lloyd Matthews.
Absolutely. Assuming you're the top dog, who's the second in command at the VAC?
Pat Schwartz.
What's the meanest thing you've ever said during a campaign?
I really can't say that here.
Have you ever made someone cry?
Probably.
When's the last time?
Within the last 6 weeks or 8 weeks, probably.
Ooh. If you could go back and be anything other than a space engineer, what would you be?
Well, I wasn't really a space engineer for very long, but I would be an airline pilot if I could.
On your next trip to space, are you flying Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk?
Musk.
UPenn.
Are you taking William Shatner?
Yes.
Richard Branson?
Yes.
Top unchecked bucket list item.
Probably to go to Antarctica.
One food for life, what would you eat?
Salmon.
Fastest you've ever gone in a car.
90, 95. Not very.
Pretty chill.
I'm not heavy-footed.
What's your favorite artist?
Probably. Well, I know it's not Picasso, but I love Picasso. Rembrandt.
All right. Musical artist.
The Chicago Symphony.
Favorite place you've ever been?
Hong Kong.
Who's your favorite person in office?
The senator from Florida.
Marco Rubio.
Yes, Marco Rubio.
Least favorite?
Our current president.
George H.W. Bush or Ross Perot?
As president or for president or
Just in general.
in general, I'll go with the Bushes.
Rusty Hardin or Tony Busby?
Rusty Hardin.
Why does Deshaun Watson need so many massages?
You'll have to ask him that.
Hopefully we will. Who's smarter, you or Ann?
And
What's a better pet, a mangy Persian cat or a vicious Cocker Spaniel?
I'll take the mangy cat.
Yes, you're a
Would
cat
you rather
person.
cats?
Cats.
Would you rather eat
We have
spice?
3 cats. I know.
You got what's their names?
I don't remember.
Here, kitty. Would you rather eat spicy curry in Mumbai with Dinesh D'Souza or monkey brains in North Korea with Kim Jong-il?
I'll have the curry.
Would you rather be annexed or incorporated?
Incorporated.
100-yard dash, you versus Eric Yalik.
Until I get my 2 knees replaced, Yalik.
Both going on segways. Attaboy.
Hey, did you enjoy the hot seat, Steve?
It was great. It was
yeah,
great.
yeah. What a great show! So we worked on a lot of those great questions for you. So it was.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, they were very appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Steve, any parting comments that you'd like to talk about as far as the Woodlands Township, the election coming up, incorporation?
Call to action.
Call to action, baby.
Well, and again, the thing that all of our residents in every election should vote in every election. It is particularly important this cycle, from a Woodlands perspective, that people get up to speed on the whole incorporation issue and vote. Turnout, we would love to see it be in the 60 and 70%, which is what it is in presidential years.
Yeah.
It's probably a dream to even think of that.
Yeah.
But I'll settle for even half of that.
Yeah.
Because
Perfect.
because the future of our community is literally at stake. Then it impacts every man, woman, and child in the Woodlands.
Yeah.
It's time to vote.
It is. Thank you, Steve Leakey, and we appreciate all your community service, all your leadership in the community. We value you. We love you. Thank you for serving as my Secretary of State and emissary for the Woodlands Township. And I know we got plenty of good things left for us to do.
Thank you guys very much, and thank you for what you're doing.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, thank you for joining the Legal Fix. We'll see you next week, live at noon.